Chapter 419 spoilers are out, and the title of the chapter is Purpose. The chapter starts with All for One speaking to Deku, who is now an armless child, and tells him, "You took one for all and stole Yoichi from me. By attacking Tomura psychologically, you allowed me to emerge on the surface." Shigaraki is disintegrating in the imaginary world and sees All for One. All for One is telling him that Shigaraki never made a choice in his life, but that it was All for One who made him believe that he had his own decision. He was controlled from the very start. All for One says he failed twice to capture One for All. The first time was Lariata alias Koram, and the second time it was Tai. All that was missing from All for One was an iron will. While All Might was growing in power, All for One began looking for someone mentally weak, someone he could control. All for One meets Tomura's father. Tomura's sister was already too big for All for One to handle, so he convinced the father to have another child. So when Tomura was born, All for One took away his original Quick and gave him a new Quick when he brought him home. Dr. Karaki then copied a person's quick disintegration, but removed the other side of the quick, the ability to reconstruct and transfer it to Tomura. He has been controlling Tomura's life from the beginning. We see Shigaraki disintegrating in the imaginary world. All for One says, "There, I have annihilated your mind. I have planned to play this card after seizing One for All, but oh well." Shigaraki is completely disintegrated. All for One shouts, "Now disappear." We see young Izuku armless being projected out of the invisible world and back into the real world. And he says Yoichi is no longer there. Shigaraki emerges from the smoke and says, "My mid-term plan is no longer feasible." He hears something in his head and says, "Ha." There's still an echo left, and he grows a hand that covers his mouth and says, "Silence." All for One, who is now in full control of Shigaraki's body, says that the psychic attack he received in the other world has had repercussions on his physique. He mentions that the disintegrating quick, the rage, and the hatred have disappeared. He declares that Tomura is finally dead, that the vessel he has been crafting for years is ruined, and that his little brother is no longer there either. Izuku is lying on the ground, speaks softly, and says, "All for One." All for One says that he will move on to his final goal, to conquering the world, but Izuku tells him that he will not let him. However, he suddenly feels sharp pain, and we can see that Deku has lost both his arms. All for One says that Izuku also hasn't emerged unscattered. Izuku has flashback and says that he won't give up. All for One says, "It's often said that people become stronger when they lose something, but you, from the very start, had nothing. Look where you are now." And suddenly, Zero arrives and grabs onto All for One with his adhesive tape. All for One says he didn't feel Zero approach because he was insignificant compared to Izuku. Zero reassures Izuku and says that they are here, they are there. Ojiro and Sato arrives to fight against All for One. While Ojiro and Sato attack All for One, Izuku says, "You are all safe," and a person appears behind him saying, "Sorry, Izuku." And that person is Aizawa emerging from a portal and says, "We are late. We are a little late." No break next week. That's all from the spoilers for now. Thank you for watching till the end. Please like and subscribe.